So yeah, last session, and probably everyone wants to get out. Not very hard sometimes. Yeah, welcome to Bristol and welcome to the NFCS conference. So this talk is really not technical. I structured this talk about sharing a vision quite a few of us had when we started this AIR and other activities, and it was not that long ago, about 2 years or so ago. And the vision was, how can we achieve this single pane of glass view for a new set of research resources coming up, namely AIR, because we had a little bit of advantage of being like a greenfield setup. So I'll walk you through what it was, how we did it, where we are, and where we would like to go. There are some links to technical bits, so in case you want to look into it, you could, but I send a pin. So a little bit about the Bristol Center for Supercomputing. Quite a few of my colleagues are here. I'm not going to ask them to raise hand because they tend to sit together on one table. So yeah, my colleagues are here. Some have the Bristol Center for Supercomputing t-shirt. We are a brand new institute, as HPC goes, not even under 2 years old. And we were largely funded when we received Isambard AI funding. But the activity or service around ARM goes back a long way. So if you want to remember anything what we are about, think of 3 things: ARM as the CPU, modular data center, container thing, and AIRRPORTAL. So I'd be very happy if you can associate 1, 2 or more rubrics, but yeah, a lot more than that. And so for some of you who were on site yesterday, so we had a site visit. I think some of you signed up and went there. So this is a site which used to be a car park at the National Composite Center up near the motorway. And here you see Isambard AI, where the ground was broken, as it says, like the whole thing was built in about a year, the site, the modular data center. But the Isambard AI services, which is the little thing on the left side, Isambard 3 AI in phase 1, has been in operation a year almost before that. And I will tell you later on, we are getting into habit of taking car parks and building modular data centers. So there is one more project coming up later on, which shows that this approach works. This is not the only way of doing it, but we demonstrate this is. I'm going to now show off a little bit. I'm sorry about that. But what is an AI research resource? So this is a link to the government website. And if you go there, there's, of course, a lot of information. But the idea was to provide AI specialized resources, or largely compute capacity, to public researchers, academia, as well as small and medium-sized enterprise. They don't list here government. So to my huge surprise, we have very large number of SME and government projects. And the picture you see there with the date, the reason I put it there because I thought, what is the point? AI grabs everyone's attention. I've been doing supercomputing for more decades than I would accept here or admit here. And I feel like there is huge responsibility for us to get this thing right. I provide service in a responsible way, but also have a return on investment. So if you go to this website, they say AI, the government sees very much as part of their research agenda. And of course, I have Isambard AI here, but the Cambridge resources are there as well. So practically, what does it mean by AI? So I will show you 2 sets of documents that came out in less than a year. And I think some reference words were made by the earlier talk from Kim. So this roadmap came out when the AIR service was officially launched by then Minister Peter Powell. I'll keep an eye on that. And so I picked up a few things here. So yeah, it was the date came out. And our funders really brought this into the idea of a single pane of glass. You see, we use airport and AIRRPORTAL interchangeably, but the bottom line is that the idea was that there should be a single front door or single pane of glass to lower access barrier and to provide a seamless way of providing and the word that came across a lot of time, interoperability, and I'll come back to it. And then there is an investment behind it. Then a few months ago, the AI for Science strategy document came out, and you can see that right there and the link. And there then, because the compute is important, but as you've been coming back, the data side is also very important. And then the 2 additional facilities were being funded, one at Edinburgh and one at us, to increase the resource pool to include data and how it will be managed and accessed. And this is work in progress, as you will see later. And then, to my greatest surprise, the project which Martin will present after the next talk, it was presented there as almost like a template or mechanism, not only to provide short-term, long-term rolling access to these resources, but a specialized way of providing access to trusted research environment. And we see a lot of use, I think Wahab, my colleague, mentioned, for bio and research environment. So what I was trying to mention is that this approach, single pane of glass, working with all our stakeholders, has enabled incorporating these plans in such a short time frame. And as we know, it's a March, moves very fast. So what is AIRRPORTAL? Very quickly, is front door. There are multiple portals, by the way, but I will not confuse all of you because I am a huge fan of completely decentralized autonomous approaches. So it is for the place where researchers apply for time across all resources. The educators review the process. If any one of you have applied recently to any cause or rolling calls, you know what it is. They can manage their rewards, educator can track, they say why you are not using it. So it's all real time and it's completely autonomous. And it is AI enabled because the data is generated in a way you could apply a lot of on-demanding accounting, reporting, and auditing. So the whole thing started because we said we are building an AI research resource. So what should we think differently? So it was a very deliberate process because a lot of us are doing research computing, DRI, for a very, very long time in a very, very successful manner. And one of the things we said that distinguishes the speed at which things move. And we have to be agile. Not only the speed and agility that they move, they change so quickly. And we said one of the principles for us is to do the whole process for getting an idea, application, education, and access done in a day. So that was the target. Sometimes it takes a bit long. So it started as a collaborative project, Airport, you heard AIRFed, and between us and University of Bristol, of course, University of Cambridge, UKRI through the Excalibur hardware enabling software funded with a little amount of money this grant. We had collaboration with our European partners, Warder and MyXSRD in general. And it has been among the successful projects of my careers with such a little money, and you could achieve a lot. So the way to think about it, there is not one approach or one technical approach to get a single pane of glass. So if you have a single stakeholder that cover the community, that cover the service provider, and then cover the capacity or owners, you could have a much simpler solution. But as you start having diverse communities, diverse service providers, different stakeholders, you have to start thinking of a different way of doing it. But at the end of the day, we wanted things to be very efficient, but also mission-oriented and transparent decision-making process. So for the AIR solution, what we did was we said, okay, what are the communities that are going to be represented here? So it's research councils, multiple currently, of course, through UKRI and DCIT collaboration, they are managing it. Some of the government entities like SolveAI, they directly make use and then they provide access to industrial users. The capacity and demand are managed by the UK DCIT and UKRI collaborators, and the AI infrastructure and service providers, of course, is Bristol providing global compute and soon data facility, Cambridge, Dawn, and Future. If you go and look at the AIR Cloud call, you will see Airport mentioned there already. is the cloud service provider. And I put EPCC, but we haven't decided what we will do, so it's to be confirmed. But EPCC will be another service provider doing things maybe differently, but interoperable. And already, I mean, I have some stats. It doesn't include, these are only airport from stat. There are individual stats from University of Bristol and Cambridge portal. Because it was so easy and autonomous, if something is quick, you can go and make a mistake and recover from that mistake very quickly. So already since we started in July, we are approaching almost 1,000 projects and 2,000 users. People from academic, internationally, almost 99% of them, they sign up with this My Access ID, which is federated very across both sides. We do not have a currently solution for industrial and government provider, which would be good to have. For DCIT and UKRI, they were so independent in deciding their call, launching their calls. Like they launched almost 5 different types of calls in less than 6 months. And I mean, including AI for science. And they have complete autonomy. So they don't send us email about what is the research and things like that. And then they can implement this compliance and regulatory workflow. I'll show a little bit later at the portal level, which DCIT and AIRR wrote, but as a service provider level, we can add, or Cambridge can add their own in a seamless way. And I like it, and hopefully Cambridge also likes it, and more people. It just gives us a consistent view of services to manage, and it really sets this transparency and separation of concern. One of the things I'm not talking here, but I just thought I will flash it. What is a sovereign? So one of the next thing I'm focusing on, and I think this word fits in there, is sovereign AI, DRI software stack. So as I said, there is not one portal that rules all. It's a completely divided, distributed system because maybe AIR will go away in a few years, and there will be something else. So essentially, I think in the panel, protocols were mentioned. Interoperability protocols. So this system is designed with that mindset. You could use any technology. It's the protocols with which one portal will talk to another portal. So in this case, we show Air portal talking to Bristol portal. And how the details of an award is sent in. If you want to know more, I think I should make a better maybe thing there. So my colleague Christopher Wood, who led this effort, and he's leading this effort, a few weeks ago, he gave a talk as the Supercomputing HPC Asia workshop. So if you go to the site, there is a link, and he talks much more in detail on how things are done. So this is another slide which shows how through the protocol different systems talk to each other, both one way and both way of updating users and other things. So I won't go. And most of the time things happen very quickly. So he timed it and provided that you could really pretty much create a project from Air portal all the way to site portal in less than a minute. But it usually doesn't happen that way because the compliance side did all. So this is a cartoonish view, but I just wanted to present this because I wanted to talk about data more. So in the Air portal workflow, you have the compute, allocation, and compliance workflow, which starts with the application. And you have different roles presented in different colors. And when you see people think it's manual, and when you see the robotic thing, it's automated. But essentially, there are different parts. There are some things. You can call it human in the loop, where they fill out a form, approve something, but it all goes in the system, and then there are some automated processes. And if something is triggered, then a human will be involved. For instance, for AI, as you know, there are a lot of additional rules which countries can access resources and things like that. So something can get kicked in. This is something I'm really, really proud of because as part of this work, we have contributed community software. And so this is the only bit of technical thing I'm talking here. And you can, so people were talking about, tokenized access and this and that. It's kind of one way it is already being implemented in airports because these are very common. Yeah, and I mean, there is an ideal world we could achieve, but how do we enable science now is also equally important. And this is the approach we took. The other thing we are doing is we are working with international communities to make sure these contributions are part of the community stack like Linux High Performance Software Foundation. So Clifton Con, so if any one of you have been on Isambard, any Isambard systems, in fact, our tier 3 system, you will be available. And you don't see open portal, but that is the thing connecting the bits. As I said, that we are not done probably grabbing car parks and building more data centers. So we received this funding a few months ago about extending an additional facility for data, because with that much compute, we only have active storage. So there was an interest on providing, should I admit?
Next slide. Don't worry.
Okay. So for those of you who were on site yesterday, the picture I showed, which covered this part, that is Isambard AI phase 2 and Isambard AI phase 1 and Isambard 3 is there. And then the data facility will go in another modular data center in this site. And you may sort of wonder why it's not next to it, because, and I was told, I don't know these things, so I believe what someone tells me. They say, if we put it here, we would end up taking more car parking space. So that was the decision-making process. And for us, yeah, this will be also, this facility will be, or services will be connected to the airport. So adding a data facility will be, how do I say, non-trivial, because there are additional dimensions to consider. But our plan right now is to work with one or two co-design use cases. I think one of them will be with the UK Biobank, and Fridge is another use case for us, where we see what are the elements of the workflow I showed you for compute, additional roles and access controls will come in. So we already started working on it, because we need to have this thing in place. We could have the most beautiful technical solution, but if there is no easy way to provide access to resources, or people have access to resources, but they are stuck in getting compliance or access to data, it's no good. So we are going to work closely with the Fridge project, the follow-on to Fridge project, as well as some with the AI data facility and other. So where we are at, a lot of things I showed you for the compute side are already in operations. We have access call for industry, academia, research. I don't really mention it. Already on-demand accounting and reporting are working for all stakeholders. Compliance workflow and auditing for compute access is in place. And this federated IAM with the My Access ID for academic and research users are in place. As I mentioned, we are now looking at it, incorporating the data compliance and access workflows. We are already looking at it, how the support model and air cloud, especially commercial or new cloud type of access would work. And specifically the compliance workflow where we have sensitive data platforms, because then we will have an additional role that's quite funny. So one of the things we learn, sometimes you don't know, because you don't know, that we didn't know that there will be so many industrial and commercial users, and they present a very, very wide spectrum. So our team is not resourced to manage them, because they have, in some cases, quite unique requirements. So what we are thinking about, and this goes back to one of the talk, how can we federate this AIR support model? And for me, AIR support incorporates more than one thing. It is, of course, service desk and help desk, because that is the user experience, but it is also training and outreach. It is really specific and unique aspects of a startup and SMEs, because that's the part of the government agenda, and specific platform support, because then you have this community support providing level 1, level 2, and level 3 support. So we are hiring. I think our next position, we started, as I said, not that long ago. We are still working in a very startup-y mode, and we have some positions open. So I'm sorry, I'm taking this platform to advertise the positions. By the way, close, I was told 1st of March, I think. So you have some time, but not a lot of time, or if you want to inform your colleagues, friends. Bristol is not that bad, but you can, a lot of our colleagues don't even live here. So, and the other thing is, I'm a very big proponent right now of sovereign AI supercomputing stack. So we are investing in OpenShami. There is a workshop together with UCL and Cambridge coming up in London. So if you would like to really invest in the system management and provisioning software stack that is vendor neutral, please sign up and listen what is going on there. It's an international collaboration, by the way.